Call this Resource Committee meeting to order at 5 minutes after 2. Councilman Buzzer, would you do a prayer, please?
Yes. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather here today to do the Cherokee Nation and the citizens' business. We ask that you keep your hand upon us, give us guidance. We thank you for the rain that we had the last couple of days. We may need those in the next month to come, but we thank you for what we have now. We ask you to keep your hand upon our troops, those that serve abroad and those that serve here in the United States, to keep us from harm. We ask you to keep your hand upon the tribal councilors today as we make decisions for the Cherokee Nation. We ask all this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Michelle, would you do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Curtis Snell.
Here.
Rex Jordan.
Here.
Bill England.
Morning.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Jack Baker. Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Joe Byrd.
Honey.
Sean Crittenden.
Honey.
Don Garbin. Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Wanda Hatfield. Dick Lay.
Honey.
Janice Taylor. Here. David Thornton.
Honey.
Victoria Vasquez.
Honey.
David Walkenstick.
Honey.
Brian Warner. We have a quorum.
And we need approval of the May 15th.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Moving on down to reports, Management Resources, Bruce Davis.
Bruce Davis is in the back. Behind
Bruce,
glass.
put your song lead and get in there. We have Mr. Davis here today. Oh,
Good afternoon. How's everybody? Good to see you. Oh, what can I do for you today? Huh? Isn't that our response? Huh? What can I do for you today?
whatever you want to do, just do it.
I know you have my report. We're having some beautiful weather. We've been working on roads, bridges, trees, down power lines from the storms, leaks. We do have the roof on this building, so hopefully we didn't have any leaks here, but we've been trying to help our elders and trying to keep people coming and going. So we got a lot going on, and it's good to be at Cherokee Nation, is what I can say, Bill. Yep. Okay. Any questions?
Any questions, Bruce? Yes, Harley.
Hi, Bruce, I sent one over. Hopefully you've got a request for an elder building around Butler Church over there in Delaware County. She's
I think I saw that.
elderly and
Okay.
real good at her house. But
Okay.
I think maybe she might have to go to the hospital, so she may need that
Okay.
done as soon as
All
we
right.
get to it.
We'll try to help them as quick as we can. I
The
know.
other thing
Oh, sorry.
is the hospital, the new building cleaned up. But where is it? What, are we on schedule or?
We're on schedule. They're doing dirt work, and if you get a chance, drive up by they won't let you on the construction site, but you can pull up in the parking lot and look out through the, mesh that they've got up there and kind of see what's going on. I think we sent some pictures on your packet of where we're at on that, so.
The other thing, I just want to say this, I drove by there, correct me if I'm wrong, but who got the contract on that up there?
I can't tell you, I mean, I think that it's split
On what?
on the
On
dirt
building the new
work.
clinic.
Flintco got it.
I thought it was Cooper.
Flintco got it.
I thought it was Cooper Flintco.
Cooper
Oh.
Flintco, it's a partnership.
Well, the reason I bring it up, I want to say Flintco on there. Cooper is the native-owned person that's part of that business, and it just really aggravates me that we see Flintco, which is not native-owned, and we got a guy that's native-owned, and his name's not even on there. That just really aggravates me. And why I bring it up is about taro. We preach taro so much, and then we got a $1 million thing going on up here, and we don't even have a name on there, the native-owned person. It just really aggravates me. But anyway, that's my rant, I guess, for this.
While Harley's talking, can I talk about aquaponics, Joe?
Yeah, once you've
You
addressed his
asked about your
concern.
greenhouse.
Yeah, well, I know. I'll guess you have to listen to me for 4 more years, but I want a garden and greenhouse.
Did we have one up there?
Not yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's coming.
If you remember, Harley, when the council went out and looked at the demonstration we had out back here last year,
Yes.
and we have one aquaponics unit set up in the greenhouse down here at our shop. So anytime you want to go look at aquaponics, we have one up and running, and I just wanted to let you know that, okay?
Good.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Thanks, sir.
More questions, for Bruce?
What are you gonna do tomorrow? Just kidding.
I'm gonna be happy to be here. I'm gonna be like
Already
Minnie
gave him
Pearl.
instructions.
Yeah, I
Okay,
got
very
instructions.
good.
Update on Buffalo.
Buffalo are good. We've only got one buffalo calf though. I don't know what the problem is there, but we're going to bring in some veterinarian and check and see what we might have a problem. Maybe they're just late, you know. Okay. And then we did have a trail ride. Councilman Snell went with us on the trail ride. We had about 50 riders and we fed them lunch and beautiful weather. GV and the boys laid out a great trail up there, and we had a real good, successful trail ride.
Good.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Bruce, how we doing on the wild horses?
Well, Don, I'll just tell you, we missed out on the wild horses. They only, like 5 different entities got the grant for the wild horses, and we were not one of them. So we missed out on this time around for the wild horses. Yeah.
Close.
We're close, yeah. Yeah. Maybe next time. They do it every 5 years.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. GB, you want to give us an update on our trail ride?
I can.
Tell everybody how that little girl run over you?
Good afternoon. Bruce kind of summed it all up, but we had a wonderful day to ride. It was nice. It was hot, and we had a little difficulty getting the people there at the bull hauler. We drop a pin, it would go to the bull hauler shop, about 1.5 miles, 2 miles to the northwest, so northeast, and so we were about an hour late getting everybody rounded up and getting them there. We had trucks going everywhere meeting them. So it is a hard location to find if you don't know where you're going. It's extremely hard. There's 3 blacktop roads you can come in. You can come in from Salina and J. You can come in so many different ways, 412, 3 different ways. So it's even with the signs there with the buffalo and everything, it's hard to find. And then we got started and we rode through the pines first, and we had an elderly man, believe it or not, was allergic to the pines. Actually passed out. We had to bring a truck in and get him out of there and got him back to his trailer, and he come around and he rode his horse during the trail ride around there, and he even took another stroll back through there afoot. He said he got dizzy and woozy and come back out. So he was 78 years old. He was an older gentleman, but he said, I guess I'm allergic to the pines. But we had a good ride. Midway through, they brought us water and everything, and it was just a real wonderful ride. Everybody liked it better than South Salt Creek Park. As far as the riders go, they liked the trails, and but I know. I was shocked myself too, David. I'm a big fan of South Salt Creek Park. Huge fan, and we worked real hard to get that done, and we're still working on it. But the trail ride was a huge success. The dinner was a good success, and I want to thank Curtis for helping us out up there with that. And it was a pleasure. I think we're looking forward to a spring trail ride at South Salt Creek Park along with Bull Holler, and then in the fall we'll come back again with those 2 rides again this fall, sometime probably in October. Buffalo, we rode through the Buffalo. I think that was the most impressive thing. That's a drawing card up there, David. It wasn't scenery by no means. But the Buffalo, we happened to hit them just right. They were at the pins when we come in. They run, and then they come back, got right on top of us, stayed with us for about 30 minutes. I'd say the people probably got 20 to 30 minutes of film right there, and they was just oohing and ahhing. And so it was a wonderful ride. Bruce's little grandson, he got a little tired. Of course, it was a 4-hour ride, maybe 4.5 hours. So it was up and down the hills and across the plains, and it was perfect. Couldn't ask for nothing better. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions for Bruce? Bruce made a good report, sir.
All right, thank you.
Moving on down to real estate services. Ginger Brown, Reeves.
She'll always be gingerbread.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Mrs. Brown, you got
You
lovely.
have my report. If you have any questions, I will be happy to address them.
Any questions for Ginger? Ginger, good report.
Thank you.
Moving on down to Secretary of Natural Resources, Sarah. Sarah Hill. Oh, man, I missed a big time.
That Tom come back up?
Now we're good.
Okay. It's always a pleasure to be here. We've been busy this month, as we're busy most months. We're getting, I hope, close to completion with a agreement we've been working on with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to have basically a conservation bank where we won't have to do beetle surveys anymore. So when we have projects that need to be completed, we'll hopefully be able to take that out of the bank that we'll have set aside. So that would help with a lot of different, projects that Cherokee Nation does. So that's something that we've been working on for a long time with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and I see that we're making progress on it, and hopefully we'll have something close to completion very soon. Environmental programs will report. I know they've been busy as usual. I continue to meet weekly with the folks from Sequoia Fuels in the state of Oklahoma about that situation, and those meetings are going well. I think we're making good progress on trying to find a resolution to that situation. A couple weeks ago, the Sovereignty Symposium was held, and I spoke on a panel there on water rights, and there are always a lot of questions about water rights in Oklahoma, and there's still a lot of interest on that topic, so I thought that was interesting. A lot of state officials showed up to listen to what all the tribes had to say, so that's something that I continue to work on. Other than that, it's been business as usual for my department, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions, Sarah? Yes, ma'am.
Can you give us an update on the landfill, just an overview of what's going on?
Sure. The landfill is continuing to take trash and do its usual operations. We had our annual trash day that they have in Stillwell and Sequoia in Adair County, maybe 6 weeks ago, something like that, maybe a little longer. Operations continue out there. Space is getting really tight on the landfill, and the new cell construction hasn't been meeting the guidelines that we really wanted to see. So we're looking at what our options are to try to get that constructed. Getting new space constructed is of utmost importance right now. Other than that, we're continuing to work on the long-term plan for the landfill. What its operation wind down is going to look like in the future. And so we've got contract work ongoing with A&M Engineering in Tulsa to help us continue to put together that long-term plan. So we've been continuing to move forward. Operations continue out there as per usual.
Thank you.
Councilman Baker?
Yes. Under the Tribal Historic Preservation Office, they charge fees for Section 106 reviews and other items. And I know in the last year or so, there's been over $1 million come in for that. And I know there's restrictions that the National Park Service has set up that it can be used for. But most tribes use it to expand the Tribal Historic Preservation Office, which is hard, an archaeologist or so forth. Do you have any immediate plans for the money that you have?
I do not have any immediate plans for the money. I think maybe we're talking about two different pots of money. One is the TC&S money, which is what brings in the fees. We don't charge for Section 106 reviews. It's the TC&S reviews that there's a charge for, and those are related to communications towers that go in. And so there is a fee charge for that, and that money has been stacked up, and there's none of that money's ever been spent. It's just being stacked up into that account. At this point, I don't have any immediate plans for what we're going to do with that or how we're going to expand. As you know, we lost Sheila Bird, and we've recently replaced her in that office, so we have another person who's taking on those duties and learning. And until we get that person trained, it seems like it's difficult to put together an expansion plan until you have your base of operations sort of reestablished. So at this point, I don't have any plan like that.
Okay. The other concern that I have with it, I don't believe that money is being reported to the council through the Cherokee Nation. And I think that we need to check to be sure that it's being reported to us, and that then we have a say on how it should be spent, which is our duty on that?
Right. Obviously, the treasurer would probably have a better idea than I would how the money's kept and how it's reported. I don't know that. I'd have to talk to her about that. We put the money in, and other than that, we don't have. That's the rest of it is sort of up to the treasurer's department, finance. We let them handle that. So I'll ask her. I'll be sure and flag that question for her, though.
Okay. And there's no way that I'm insinuating the money isn't there, because I'm sure that it is.
Right. And I wish I could answer your question better in terms of where it's rolled up in the reports, and that's not outside the area of what I know.
No, but also the plans for us to see if we can expand the Tribal Historic Preservation Office in the future. Okay, thank you.
Council Lady Taylor?
Solar canopy.
Solar canopies, as I had really hoped we'd have construction already on solar canopy, at least the beginnings of the solar canopy here at the complex. For several reasons, I think construction related, that hasn't happened yet. But we still have the money and we're still on task to do the construction at the canopy, the one that will be here on site. And that canopy will be a solar canopy that will charge electric vehicles. And we have been having a lot of meetings about how to get the electric vehicles that we'll need when that is completed. And we've also been pursuing another funding opportunity to maybe expand the solar canopy project beyond just that canopy to include others in the 14 counties. And that is something that we're just going to have to, I don't have good answers on that yet. Because we're still waiting to hear back from Volkswagen, but we made a grant application to receive additional funding to increase the solar canopies that we're going to have available to us.
So we will be adding electric cars to our fleet
Yes.
also.
Yes.
That's one thing, but then it can also be used by people who visit the complex that might need to charge. Is
Right.
that correct?
And I'm hoping to overbuild slightly so that we have a capacity, because I think that we'll see an increase over time of the
I think so,
amount
too.
that are used. So our idea is to have some that we can use, but that we don't hog the base, and that with the base we do have are also, we always have some that are designated for visitors who want to come and employees too, because a lot of the carbon savings we're going to get is from employees deciding to purchase electric cars. There's lots of studies that show that when you have a place to charge your electric vehicles during the day, you're way more likely to consider purchasing an electric car. So much of our carbon emission here is related to transportation, because that's just that's the culture of Oklahoma, is we drive everywhere. There's not the same kind of walkability you have in bigger cities. So that'd be a great way to take some of that carbon emission and lower it, I think, is to continue to give people opportunities to use a zero emission alternative.
Very good. Keep me informed.
We'll do so.
Thank you. That's all I have. Kurt?
Is that it?
Councilman Buell Langley?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Sarah, back to the Beetle deal, on the 14 counties, will you guys have more control over all, like, bridge projects and different things, or?
Only on things that we fund, so we will have to be, so it'll be projects that the Cherokee Nation itself is doing. So if we're building a road, we'll be able to use our credits to do that, so we wouldn't have to do a Beetle survey in those areas where beetles are designated. So it wouldn't be the whole 14 counties, it'd be areas where the beetle is designated, so places where you have to do the surveys. So that a lot of projects, bridges, roads, things like that the Cherokee Nation is doing, we can use our credits for that.
Okay, that's kind of what I want to know. Thank you.
Councilman Dick Ray?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The typical office is being trained, or will that person work under you or does now?
Does now.
And who's training?
Pat Gwynn and is doing most of the training for Ms. Toombs. She's the new special projects officer. And Pat is the person who did all of the Section 106 work prior to Sheila being employed here.
Councilman Sean?
The solar canopy, now is that federal, like a grant?
It was grant money, yes. From the BIA, their climate change grant that they had.
So that's grant money that's gonna build all that?
Yes.
Thank you.
No questions? Thank you, Ms. Sarah, good report.
Thank you.
Moving down to old business.
Nope, you go back to Tom. Tom Elkins.
Moving back to old business.
Tom, you're up.
Mr. Tom Elkins.
All right. Miss Hill just told me I was old business. I hear that all the time at home.
Hard to see, Tom.
We'll use that one.
Just to update where the environmental programs are at. if you look at the report that we turned in, we try to put numbers of where we're at on percentages of the goals that we've been doing. And for the most part, we're either at, one of them, we got well over 100% of the what we tried to do, which is on the roads. We've done 7 environmental reviews for roads, but most of the other ones are around 60 to 40-some, 70%. And so we try to stay that time around this time of the year. But everything seems to be going smoothly. In the summer, that's when we do more water testing and more fish shocking. So folks go out there and shock a certain part of water, and all different kinds of fish come up with that, and we take a little plug out of them, and it doesn't kill the fish. We put them in a little tank that has an aerator in there, keeps it oxygenated, and when we pull that plug out, the way that we do that, we take it and we weigh the fish, and obviously, and how big it is and everything, and then we put some antibiotic back down in there. So that keeps that grows right back in there, or at least we've been told it does. So, and they have caught some of the same fish they've done in the last year. So we know that works, and we don't see a lot of death from doing that either. So it seems to be working very well. And what I like about that, and what we've been trying to do with everything that we do, is we don't just go out to the 14 counties and say, we're going to sample here, here, and here. The state and the feds already sample certain places, and we have a very small amount of money to do these things. So we look at places where there's data gaps and where folks, where they fish more, things like that. So that all goes into that when we decide on where we're going to do that and how often. We could always do more. Some of our Environmental Protection Commission people are like, well, why aren't you doing more of this, this, and this? And we can do, and you give us the money to do that. We try to all the time expand some of the things that we do, but there's just only so much you can do with staff and money. And but I think the folks there do a really good job, and they're out in the field. You come by our building, the building I'm in, and many times through the day, there's nobody but me there. It's just people are out working constantly. And, if you have any questions or you want to come by sometime, please do. Yes, sir.
Anybody got any questions for Mr. Tom? Tom, good report. We'll
Thank you, sir.
See you in a month.
Absolutely. Hold it.
Moving on down to nowhere. Moving on down to old business. Victoria, would you like to take that, please?
Okay, sorry, excuse me. A resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation to lease tribal trust land to the SD, and I cannot pronounce any of that, sorry, Yonkers, containing 15 acres. You're the sponsor of this, and of course, because you're the chair, you can introduce it, but I would like to ask that this be tabled indefinitely.
Yes.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second to, yes, just a minute.
I'm the chairman of the board of that corporation, and I'd like to speak if I may.
No, I don't think you can do that.
No discussion.
It's already been tabled. It's already been a motion to table.
We got a motion and a vote to table this indefinitely. So we got to, I think we need to vote on that before we do anything.
Yes.
There's no discussion on
No discussion.
All right.
Vote. Call for the vote.
All in favor?
We'll call for the vote. All in favor of tabling this indefinitely?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Do you want to do roll call or do ayes have it?
No, ayes have it. Then we don't have two, I think.
Yeah.
Ayes have it.
Okay, it's tabled then. Move on.
And that's been tabled indefinitely. So,
New business.
we move on to new business, none pending. Announcements. Next meeting will be June the 10th at 2 PM. I'd like a motion to adjourn.
That's July the 10th.
We're not gonna meet till next year.
You said it right, they just got it wrong.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, no, you're good.
All in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
All opposed?
Ginger.
Notice what I meant, not what I.